Welcome back to my blog. I decided to go ahead and do another video blog because it seems to work out really well with getting my thoughts out. So I kind of want to touch on addiction. It's kind of something that we see everywhere, and it's really prevalent here in and around Cherokee. There's a lot of opioid addiction and alcohol abuse. It affects the community a lot because with the kids, they are being raised in a house or home that probably has a lot of addiction going on. And because of Cherokee's laws, like the Native Americans, it's actually illegal for like myself to adopt a Cherokee child. They want to keep family really in the tribe and or in their community. And so if a child is in need of care, sometimes they'll take the kids to like the emergency department, drop them off, and there's like a list of people who are willing to take care of them, like basically kind of like foster care. So, but they don't have anything. Like the kids are dropped off sometimes with just the clothes on their back. This could be anywhere from, an infant to, maybe like a 5 or 6 year old or even more. So that's really hard for them. And it's something that they struggle with. And so one thing that we did was collect donations for clothes, because they have a really neat system at the emergency room where they have clothes that basically we just like rolled up a couple outfits in a like Ziploc bag, and the caregiver can go into like this big room where it's all organized and just grab like a couple bags if they need them. So more just like a background of that information. So addiction is like something that I struggle with, not personally, but as a second hand. I've been around it a lot, and I think that it's something that people take, they look at a person who is addicted to something and just tend to blame them, or maybe like just instantly judgment. That's what it is. So if you'll notice, I put the definition of addiction on this blog, and I highlighted the word enslavement because that's what it is. You are literally enslaved by this substance, whatever it may be: alcohol, opioids, heroin. Heroin is a horrible drug, and it causes people to do horrible things. People don't wake up thinking, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go become an addict. Like, that's not how it happens. When we see it in young people, it's probably because they've been abused, or they've been in a household with, drug users or alcohol abuse or whatever it is. It's around them, and that's why they choose to, use or seek it out. Or, maybe somebody got into a car accident and they were put on opioids for a little bit, and then it just became a problem. There's so many reasons why people get addicted, and I think that sometimes we forget that. I hear a lot, especially with nurses who deal with addicts, that they're not a behavioral health nurse, so this is completely out of their realm. That's a problem, because we're all behavioral health nurses. Whether you work specifically in behavioral health, mental health, it doesn't matter. We are all we all know how to communicate with people. We're all taught to not pass judgment. We're all taught how to communicate therapeutically. We're all taught to how to deal with patients, and whether somebody is there for addiction or, whether they're there for a gallbladder, like, that doesn't make them different human. They should be treated exactly the same, and you should never give up on them. So a place that we were able to visit, which is part of the Cherokee Indian Hospital, is Kanawha TE. It is like an addiction recovery facility up in the mountains. It's a pretty remote location, which is good, because it's not something that, should be out where, you can just go visit, or the people who are there are needing to recover, and it needs to be private, and it needs to be secluded. So Kanawha TE really hit my heart because they don't give up on people, which is huge. And I think, especially with addicts, people tend to give up on them, and that doesn't help. And it's really hard to see somebody struggle. It's hard to deal with an addict, but that's kind of like what maybe I want to do is help people get through that and become a better person. When we were at Kanawha TE, one of the nurses mentioned that it's really neat to see somebody recover, and maybe at the end of their recovery, they'll see a new person come in and say, wow, that was me. I'm embarrassed that I acted like that. So that kind of hits you in a way, because you think about it, and like, they don't want to be like this. So help them. I think the average relapse time across the nation is like 8 relapses. So when you say that somebody's addicted, you really mean like they're addicted. It's hard to get away, especially when it's around you and your environment. So what people need is support, not just support from behavioral health nurses, but support from every person. Whether you're working the counter at the checkout, or whether you're, the receptionist taking in the person, support them, smile and say, I'm here for you. If you just need to talk, let's just talk, whatever it may be. Sometimes somebody just needs a person to listen to them. So, something else that I wanted to touch base on, which is really unique about Kanawha TE, is that it's a medically assisted detox facility. So that is huge. I think in Illinois we might maybe have 3 still. One of them is in Peoria, and I was able to visit that last semester. The differences are huge. So the one in Peoria, I believe, has 13 beds. They're understaffed. They're underfunded. So if you can imagine dealing with a lot of addicts day in and day out, that's really stressful. And the nurses, God bless their heart, do as much as they can, but there's not enough help, and that's really unfortunate. And the facilities aren't really kept up because there's no funding. And when you don't have funding, you can't do what you need to do. You can't provide the way that you need to. So at Kanawha TE, they have funding. They have a very nice facility. They're staffed really well. It was one of the first times that I saw a nurse working in behavioral health that didn't look like she was maybe a little bit miserable, like hurting, because her job is that hard. She explained to us how rewarding it is, how much she loves working there, how it was something that she never thought that she would do, but it's something that she really loves to do. And that really touched my heart. She was also telling us about the other services that they provide, which is amazing, and I can't even begin to explain to you how I felt about that. Sorry, I'm doing a video blog.
I was really just telling you to use them, but we couldn't find you, so we were looking for you.
Sorry. The services that they provide, not only therapy, group therapy, they work on trying to find, other things for the person to do, coping skills. So, but they also provide dental care. They have a physician that comes out and does like a physical. They provide services that, like, preventative care services there at an addiction recovery center for people who have not had this because they've been addicted to something for so long that they haven't taken care of themselves. And I mean, that's just brilliant to me. Like, I can't even express how good I feel about it, because it's just one of those things, like, you don't really think about, like, wow, let's just add this extra piece to our facility that maybe doesn't even really cost a lot or affect anything other than getting a person healthy, because that's what we're here for. As nurses and as healthcare providers, we are in this for patients. We're in this for people, and I just really loved it. I mean, I can't tell you how beautiful it was. It was like very open. There was a lot of sunlight. There was like a little garden that they had, and then like the view was just mountains, and it was just really peaceful and a place that felt very comfortable. And people can go there and detox, and they can get the help that they need. And there is not a set time, so you don't have to go in for 60 days specifically, or whatever it may be. And people leave, without finishing their program, and hopefully they come back. There's repeat, times, because the problem that we see is that people get onto these schedules, these routines in facilities, where you're trying to get them back on their life, like get up at, be productive during the day, and eat healthy, and maybe work out a little bit, and they do a lot of counseling, and then they go home and they don't have that structure, or they go home and they can't find work. That's a problem. Like, everybody has a history, so if you just take a moment to kind of step into the shoes of somebody else and think about, they have a past. Everybody has a past, and not everybody wants to be a horrible person. Most people don't, and I think it's really important to think about that when you're considering what some people are going through, and when you're really thinking, especially with addiction, they get judged, and they get treated poorly. So just, I think my takeaway from this message is just think about, treat them as if it was your own family member and you wanted them to be well. Think about the fact that they might have kids, or they might have parents that love them and want to see them succeed. Don't label them. Don't make what happened in the past what's happening now. What's happening now is they're here to get better. They're seeking out help. They want help, so give it to them. Don't worry about anything that happened in the past, because that cannot be changed. So, like, just help them move forward. That's the only way that I feel like we're gonna combat this problem that we have, is if everybody really gets on board. And just because you maybe work in the emergency room, or you're a nurse in an outpatient facility, or whatever it might be, you still will run into people with addictions. And don't ever say, I'm not a behavioral health nurse, so I can't help this person. You can make a difference. Even if it's just sitting and listening, you can be the difference. If everybody would just get on board with that, I really think that there would be a lot less addiction and a lot more help. So that's all I have for that. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them on my blog. Thank you.